Vamos continuar, né? Sobre minha irmã, gêmea.
It's possible that the Fatui have other information that even I don't know about. And since the Balladeer used to be one of them, he'll be better acquainted with this information than I am. He was granted the power to connect with Irminsul when he almost became the god of a new era. Even though he no longer has the Gnosis, some traces of its power remain in him. He can still connect. The amount of information in Irminsul is vast beyond description. Sifting through all of it without knowing what to look for would take too long, even for me. So I asked the Balladeer to search in Irminsul for any information about the Descenders. He's more familiar with this kind of information, and should be able to find it more quickly.
E se ele mentir para você?
Exactly! Or what if... Paimon just doesn't trust him! He's treated us as enemies every time we've run into him!
I understand. But sometimes, everything is dictated by which side you're on. How things will go in the future depends on what information he brings back. And Traveler, I know what your heart desires most of all. Our minds have connected several times before. There is a corner of your heart reserved for an intense longing. A feeling of being all alone in the dark, searching for the one candle whose light still burns. As Sumeru's deity, it is my responsibility to be on guard against the Balladeer. But as someone who counts you as a friend, I want to do something for you. If this deal with the Balladeer can give you the answers you've been longing to find, then it's worth it.
Obrigado, vida.
It's my pleasure, really. You're Sumeru's hero. You've more than earned it.
O herói de lugares, né?
I'm still worried about this idea. Is there anything we can do to help?
Vai morrer de dor.
I was gonna contact you about that, but then you suddenly showed up on your own accord. Seems like we have a telepathic connection. In fact, I was going to ask you to supervise the Balladeer on my behalf while he carries out the task I assigned. Even though he only has a fraction of his full power left, that's still a fraction of a former Harbinger. If you could accompany him, it would put my mind at ease.
Claro,
Of course,
fazemos,
I'll
é
be there to
facinho.
help guide you through Irminsul from the outside.
Fico feliz em poder ajudar, né?
Great, thank you. Prepare yourselves. I'm going to transport you into Irminsul.
Já vai, né?
Wow! It looks pretty different here compared to last time. The
Ué, tá a mesma
colors are
coisa, pai.
gentler. Guess that must be because Sumeru's at peace now.
Coisa.
Look at that. Hot on my heels. You know, you didn't have to cut your catch-up short just to keep me company. Oh, but I guess you panicked when you realized that I might enter Irminsul
Na rede me
ahead of
enviou
you.
para ser sua babá.
Shut your beak, jailbird! No way a prisoner gets
Presidiário.
so smug!
I understand that prisoners have to put up with harassment from the guards. But right now, I'm on temporary release. So maybe you should think about backing off a little.
Sounds like a successful rendezvous. I need to be quite clear about something. In a few moments, you'll be entering into the innermost region of Irminsul. It is an environment like no other, and the most important place in all of Sumeru. Unlike anywhere else, Irminsul's inner region consists exclusively of torrents of information. You must put aside your differences and be extremely careful as you navigate your way through. I know there are many grievances between you, on both sides, but it is essential that you remain calm after entry. This is as much for your own safety as anything else.
Entendido. Ué, não foi? Eu tô atrapalhando.
Let's call it truce. But only until this mission's over.
Let's
Permissão
cut
ser
each other a little
concluída.
slack, shall we? We are going to be traveling together after all. Per my agreement with Lesser Lord Kusanali, I'll be at the front. It's my job to lead the way and get rid of any obstacles in our path. All you have to do is keep your pretty eyes open and try not to fall behind.
You sure are confident. Paimon will give you that. You make it sound like you're even more experienced at adventuring than us.
If there are no further objections, I suggest we get going. Or did you need some time to mentally prepare yourselves?
Ew! Ugh, the snark on this guy. It's unbearable.
Não há motivo para toda essa provocação. Foque em fazer seu trabalho.
We can start now.
Irminsul access granted. Initiating connection procedure.
Is this a small sapling? Oh, darn it! Come on, let's catch up with him.
Claro. Fica esperando. Será que eu tô... Ih, já foi, não precisa fazer nada, pô.
Wow! So this is the inside of Irminsul.
Diferente do que eu imaginava.
Ooh, Paimon's never seen anything like this. And it feels like a sacred place.
Irminsul is closely intertwined with the entirety of Teyvat. Every bit of information flowing here means something. Pick your jaws up off the floor. It's time to go.
Why is it that Paimon just wants to do the opposite of everything he says?
Lesser Lord Kusanali, we will now proceed to the heart of Irminsul.
Can you still sense where the heart of Irminsul is?
Yes. Permission to begin searching for information there?
Permission granted. Go ahead.
Let's go.
Siga.
Stay close. Don't go running off.
Hey, so say we did go running off in
Tô
here.
preocupada, pai?
What would happen? What are you smirking at?
I was just imagining the look on your travel companion's face if you went and got lost. Anything's possible in here. You can't rule anything out. So if you want to stay safe, your best option is to stick close to me.
Testei, ele é um personagem muito forte. Eu vou atrás, hein? Bonita árvore, hein?
These sapling things have spread out.
Dispersadas.
Those are all packets of information from inside Irminsul. Be careful not to touch them.
O local só se moveu, parece que foi transportado. A gente se importou, né? Vamos de novo.
It looks
Voltamos.
the same in every direction.
Ué, parece que a gente voltou pro mesmo lugar. O espaço é diferente. Continue
No
explorando.
wonder he mentioned about getting lost.
É aquilo, né? Continue a nadar.
No, he was actually telling the truth. Is he mocking me again? What is it this time?
There's a time and a place to lie, but this definitely isn't it. So why don't you relax your guard a little? We're here.
Ó,
What a
coração.
huge tree!
Este é o centro da Rinsu, né? Todas as informações do mundo estão fluindo através dela.
Lesser Lord Kusanali.
Good, you made it. Are you ready?
Ready when you are.
Then please begin. Preparing to access cognitive currents. Establishing waypoint.
The Balladier's actually doing what Nahida tells him. Guess he must want to stay alive.
Ele está vivo. Calma. Ele não está oferecendo nenhuma resistência. E ele parece, né? Trabalhar bem na linha de frente. Talvez ele tivesse um papel similar a esse nos fatores. Primeiro, as histórias de Akada, né? E o Sawada, né? Agora é isso. Indivíduo estranho.
The rest is up to you. If you discover anything at all, make sure to share it with us.
Will do.
Huh. For once, we're the ones with nothing to do.
Traveler, Paimon, would you like to talk?
Na vida. Essa é uma conversa telepática.
Yes, I've also invited Paimon to join.
Huh? What the? We can talk to each other inside our heads?
Você não quer aqui perturbando os caramujos, né?
That's part of it. Plus, we're all friends. There's nothing wrong with us talking like this once in a while.
Paimon's never tried this before. This is great! So, Paimon's been wanting to ask you something. Don't you think the Balladier's a bit of a walking contradiction? He's always talking back, but he seems to listen to what you say.
As I've told you before, there are still some mysteries for him to resolve. Things that are clear as day to me, but that he has yet to understand. Perhaps today will be the day that he finds some answers.
Fala dizer sobre o passado dele, as traições e os outros eventos em Inazuma.
Well done. Smart and attentive as always.
Na verdade, eu tive um vislumbre, né, de algumas coisas quando encontrei o Raipaz dela. Disso, que é região, né? O único partido que viu na mente dos caramujos, né?
So, you made contact with that part of his mind. Well, it's true. Betrayal turned the Balladeer into the person he is today.
Huh. Paimon thought nothing could get under that guy's skin. Turns out, he can get hurt and angry just like anyone else.
Everyone has a history, Paimon. Even if you're a puppet created by the Electro Archon.
Speaking of puppets, we ran into two people at the Academia today talking about an essay. Turns out their topic was about the Tatarasuna incident. Nahida, do you know anything about that?
If you mean the mysterious events, the Kabuki Mono and so on, yes. I know about all of that.
Really? Because from what they were saying, it sounded like lots of Tatarasuna's history is still unexplained. And most of the information we have now is just from people filling the gaps with their imagination. At least that's what they thought.
Você conta na ilha sobre a história que o Suada, né?
Oh?
Suada, né? Suada.
How
Sei lá como falam desses caras, velho.
Those two managed to deduce quite a lot through guesswork alone.
So the Gesse got it right?
Well, they guessed right about one thing. Tatarasuna was sabotaged.
Must be a riveting conversation you three are having. Funny how all the good ones happen when I'm not involved.
Não, você tá ouvindo.
What makes you think we're talking to each other?
Don't insult me. You're having a private conversation without me. Obviously, I must be the topic of said
Nós
conversation.
temos todo o direito de manter certas coisas confidenciais.
Of course you do. You can't have your prisoner knowing too much.
So, have you found anything yet?
Still looking. Don't get your hopes up, though. You and your twin come from outside this world. It wouldn't surprise me if there was nothing on either of you in Irminsul at all.
Wait, how did you know about that? Did Nahida tell you?
It's not like we've never met before. And anyway, you're world famous. It'd be more surprising if I didn't know a few things about you.
Cada conversa com você é um trabalho duro, né? Mas sua atitude é melhor do que eu esperava.
Right now, we have to keep the peace. I'm not interested in creating more misery for myself. And making cordial conversation is something I can manage. Huh? Wait.
Não, eu tô esperando.
This light. It looks similar to those saplings. What could it be?
Anonymous data.
Hey, don't you forget the agreement. You have to share it with us.
Calma, pai. Nem ele sabe o que é.
Shh. Just wait.
Vou explodir na mão dele, tá?
Mr. Niwa, are you certain this is worth the risk? We are talking about Tatarasuna's furnace, after all. It may not pay to act rashly.
There's no one else who can enter the furnace. It has to be me.
Is that so? Well, since you insist.
Esse nome daí é... Ele era um homem no comando de Zarazuma, além disso... Aconteceu alguma coisa? Aconteceu coisas, pelo visto.
I have been in Tatarasuna for some time now. You have shown me great hospitality, as has Mikoshi Nagamasa, and indeed, everyone else. Under your leadership, Tatarasuna is a warm, welcoming place. Like a giant village. People are gainfully employed. Their lives have purpose. They are motivated.
Esse é no corpo de alguém.
As I understand, the Raiden Shogun has, in recent years, eliminated much of the evil that plagued Inazuma. As for Tatarasuna, it was originally established as a means of safely disposing crystal marrow. The forging industry with crystal marrow as a raw material has since flourished, giving rise to generations of swordsmiths. Some world-renowned, others unknown. All passing on their legacy. Skills, blood, dreams. Every smith brought into this trade looks to find their purpose between steel and blade. That is why you accepted the proposal brought to you by myself and Akame.
Yes, well, were it not for you coming to Inazuma and happening to make Akame's acquaintance, the two of you never would have joined forces. And he would be the first to admit that there's no way he could have revolutionized our forging process like this on his own. At least not on the same timescale. You allowed Akame to take all the credit for a method that you jointly developed. He sold it to me, and now every piece of ore here is smelted using the new technique. Even now, you remain one of Tatarasuna's key consultants, working right here alongside us. I believe it is you, sir, who are truly responsible for the changes in our manufacturing and forging methods.
You flatter me. From the outset, I saw much that was commendable in the forging industry of Inazuma. And it has been my great honor to befriend you all.
So you say, Escher. But is this really the truth?
My good sir, what do you mean?
I tried to resist thinking it was all connected. Because I didn't want to speculate. And I didn't want to believe that things could turn out this way. What have we gained from adopting your new technology? Ominous black smoke? Mounting production problems? Worker fatigue and casualties are up and continuing to rise at an alarming rate. And recently, as you well know, someone died because of that strange filth inside the furnace. We've kept the truth from spreading outside, but still, I suspect you understand it better than I do. None of the people who went out to get help have come back. Now, our mutual friend, the Kabuki Mono, is taking the Golden Feather to Narukami Island to seek an audience with the Shogun. This is our last hope. But that doesn't faze you, does it, Escher? Nothing does. Otherwise, why would you still be standing there with that smile on your face?
I'm just surprised that you finally chose to be so sincere. I'm sure you've been harboring these suspicions for quite some time.
Mikoshi Nagamasa may have noticed that there was one common denominator among all these events. Namely you, Escher. But Mr. Mikoshi is more cautious than I. He does things by the book.
After all, Nagamasa is the adopted son of Mikoshi Torichio, the yokai struck down by the Shogun's own hand. If he truly seeks to redeem his family's honor, an abundance of caution is well advised.
You're well informed on the subtleties of his situation for a mechanic all the way from Fontaine. Are you sure you're not a little overqualified?
Why, Mr. Niwa, are you suggesting I find a job as a diplomat? Sadly, I am so very attached to my craft.
Enough, Escher. I'm here because an evil force is raging inside the furnace. And someone needs to take your new device inside the high-risk zone so we can absorb it and put an end to the problem. I'm in charge here. And I'm about to take some responsibility and head inside. Probably to my death. But what about you? What are you still doing here?
Judging from the look in your eyes, you don't seem to trust me.
Drop the act. We're past that now. Whoever you are, it looks like your plan to destroy Tatara
Será que
Suna
foi
has
ele que tá com
worked.
aquela chuva lá em Tarazuna?
I just want to know what you're still doing here. What's left? Don't you have all your answers by now?
Honestly, I'm just waiting for the right moment.
Minhas costas. Homem. Sabia?
A moment like this, where you finish talking and I stop you from entering the furnace.
You...
You're a little smarter than I initially gave you credit for. I thought I'd disguised myself exceptionally well, at least for the first few days. But to my surprise, you had your people look into my background right from the start. It's a long journey from Inazuma to Fontaine, but that didn't stop them. Eventually, they managed to confirm that Escher was an alias, and that I was not from Fontaine at all. And yet, despite all of that, you still fail to realize my true identity, and what I seek in Tatara Suna.
Did you really think you would be able to see through my plan?
Quem é essa voz?
If you kill me, there's no one who can get inside the furnace. So you're really going to destroy this place? Is that it?
Oh, but you're quite wrong. There is one other person. Some may not see him as a person, but you told him yourself. You're not a puppet. You're a human. You're just missing a heart.
Whoever you're working for won't get away with this. They'll be found out. But this makes no sense. What are you really trying to accomplish by all this? Why go to all this trouble?
It's no trouble at all. Patience is a virtue which I have in abundance. This is all part of a carefully controlled experiment. If you must know, I'm happy to divulge my true identity. I'm a Fatui Harbinger. Call me the Doctor.
The Fatui? Who? What do you want?
Just to create a minor inconvenience for your nation.
That's it? That's why you gave us your cursed technology? Just to let loose the evil energy from the crystal marrow?
Look how even the righteous soul is filled with venom when faced with its demise. My device functions precisely as you say. It is the only chance you have of preventing a catastrophe and keeping the truth from the outside world. However, I did not make it with you in mind. It is easier for a person to be possessed by evil spirits when they are filled with hate. So give in to your fury. I want to see what happens when a malevolent heart is placed into an unsuspecting puppet. Make no mistake, even without you, that pure, innocent puppet would only end up being used by someone else instead. What other reason would a human have for befriending one who is not of our kind?
Já, velho. Ajuda.
If you give him my heart, tell him that both Nagamasa and I see him as one of us. He has nothing to prove to anyone. Because not everyone just wants to use other people. The only ones who think like that are people like you.
What a beautiful way to see the world. It almost makes me feel a little guilty. Then out of respect for
Irei me
you, I shall
redefinir.
redefine myself. Think of me as a monster or a demon, if you wish. At least this way your death is not a consequence of your own folly turning you into an easy target. You simply lost to something more powerful than you could ever hope to defeat. I say, Mr. Niwa, let's see what happens. Will your puppet friend become a human? No, that will prove quite impossible. Mr. Niwa? Already dead. What a pity.
Cara, tá com uma facada nas costas do cara. Não tem um sangue.
Jester, I have completed the task
Doutor
you
lá, ó.
gave me. Creating a gap and infiltrating Inazuma's inner workings. What fun it was.
Calma aí, né, velho? Ele só tá muito grande, velho. Vamos tirar no próximo.